welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Art Lewis Show. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we'll have the superintendent of the Saginaw Township Community Schools on, talk about their millage proposal. And that will happen at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we will learn about West Branch Antiques and Comics. But for the first part of this hour, we will spend time chatting, as we do regularly, with the city manager of the city of Saginaw. He is Tim Morales. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
We're doing well, thanks. All right, let's get this out of the way. City Council has an issue with one of their council people, and the staff, including yourself, have been asked to draw a resolution to remove her once she's sentenced, Malik Lamar Sylvia. Where does that stand, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, that's up to council. Our city attorney did draft a resolution as directed, and that will be on the agenda for Monday evening's meeting. And then the next step is for council to vote on that with the regular meeting.
Just out of curiosity, what does the charter provide in terms of removal?
Well, the charter doesn't speak specifically about how to remove, in as far as I understand it from my reading, but it does declare that a seat is vacant for various reasons, such as death of a council member, moving out of the city, and conviction of a felony. So that's the plain reading of the section.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just had to mention it because they had directed staff, so I thought I'd mention it. Moving on, how is the city doing with the medical diamond? Where are we in terms of the city's contribution to it?
Well, we're moving forward with our park planning. I think we'll have our bids out soon. We're still working on funding for that. Obviously, I think we had $6 to $7 million for the park, and of course, when you have landscape and park designers, they always come in with more than what you have. So we are submitting additional grants to try to meet that, but it's phased. The way they design it is phased, so we can do it at various levels. We'd obviously like to implement as much as we could, but that'll all depend on the funding that we have available. Consumers Energy is planning to start their burying of the power lines, if they haven't already. They plan to do that very soon. You could probably, if you go down there, you'll see some of the staging. And we've worked on, and council's approved development agreements for one block of that downtown area.
How much of the park planning, if any, was based on the original designs from the New York park architect?
Mm-hmm. It's the same landscape architects park planning firm. So we engaged Scape. They partnered with Studio Gang on that kind of layout for the whole development, the planning document. So we did engage the same landscape architecture firm to do that plan. So it looks very similar. Obviously, they did additional engagement with the community to see what people were most interested in. So there are other elements, and they did more research than on that initial plan about the history of Saginaw and talked to more organizations. So it won't be exactly the same, but it's very similar.
And part of that plan was a little controversial. The piers, the docks that jutted out into the river. And there was some question as to legality without getting Coast Guard approval or other approval.
Yeah, I think that is still in their drawing or something very similar. And we know with a lot of the work that's going to be down there, we'll need permits from various levels. It's a navigable waterway, so it would need, I think, Army Corps of Engineer, Eagle, and various phases for that permitting process. So that'll be part of the overall construction. It's not going to be a park that's done, in a month or two. So we know we will have a lot of work to do with regulatory agencies, even as we move through the regular portion of the park, just because it's on the riverfront.
Yeah. Tim, when you look at the entirety of this project, what does it mean to Saginaw to have that medical diamond?
Oh, I think it's a great step in revitalizing downtown. And you can look at Old Town, all the work that's been done this summer, and all the new businesses that are in Old Town. And it's busy almost every night down there. Restaurant. There's additional restaurants going in. You have, of course, the new ice cream parlor in Old Town. It's really increased foot traffic. We're going to see Old Town have additional residential units in the next year to 2 years, and you see that type of engagement. We want to replicate that downtown, and this is a great step towards that as we have new residences, educational institutions, and healthcare moving in on that block that, as you know, it basically appears to be 3 empty blocks downtown right now. As that fills in, it's going to, I think, revitalize downtown.
And one of the concerns is the cost. They're looking at a couple $100 million total for the project. Have you had any conversations with the Shaheens on how they're doing raising the funds?
There's various projects down there. So we have a development agreement for the block that does have the Lee Mansion on it, and the plan is for that individual who owns that property to continue to develop that. And the rest of the block would be private development along with additional health care, and that goes in line with the ARPA funding that we provided to Great Lakes Bay Health. So that is what we have moving so far. That's a private development. So we don't get involved with the financing. Our role in that would be to approve the plans and do the development agreement because we own a significant number of those parcels. But we have talked to the developer, Shaheen Development, for those buildings as well as Great Lakes Bay Health, and it appears those are moving forward as planned, and we would expect for a groundbreaking next year.
All right. Let's talk about orange barrels on the roads for a minute. There's a lot of projects going on around town. One of them I've been asked about is Wheeler Street because people say it's torn up but doesn't look like there's any progress. Are things happening there?
Yeah, I think all of our projects are moving along. I haven't heard about any significant delays. Obviously, there's typically there are delays in construction projects, and I think some of them will probably run a little bit longer. And as you have so many ongoing projects throughout the city, we expect those to run longer than initially anticipated, just because of weather delays or delays for some of the materials that you need. But I think our engineering and streets group, they expect most of the projects to be wrapping up in October as expected. I'm not sure about that project in particular. I know some of the other ones, the parking deck in Old Town, that's taking a little bit longer as you get into those projects, sometimes you find things that you didn't anticipate being there. So that does lengthen the schedule a little bit.
All right, hang on. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back with one more segment with City Manager Tim Morales from the City of Saginaw.
Gotta go.
Didn't get POs at that time, June and early July, so we had probably 40 items on there. So we're pretty much set on that, and we're going into our fiscal year.
And how are we financially?
We're doing well. We're starting the audit now for the last fiscal year, just getting that started, and we still have a healthy fund balance. We have a capital reserve fund now, which we didn't have for a year, so we can do some of these projects without getting financing, which is true of the City Hall project. We have no financing for that. It's ARPA and capital reserve fund, so that's a big positive for the city.
And how is the City Hall coming?
It's coming along. We should have the first floor done in October, and that will be good news for the citizens because all the relocated customer-facing offices, water, assessing, and the Treasury, they'll move back to their main office, and the city clerk will move back to their main office and the first floor, which everyone is used to, and then the second floor will be started, and that should be done February or March, and that will conclude the entire project.
Are you redoing council chambers too?
Yeah, second floor will mainly be the HVAC and electrical upgrades. There's not going to be a lot of changes in council chambers, and I think that's good because we want to preserve that woodwork that's in there and the layout and the historical value there. So that's a positive. Right now, our council meetings are at the Anderson Center. We've been there for the past several meetings because they did start work on some of the HVAC in the council chambers a month or two ago, a couple months ago.
So you're not doubling the size of your office then?
Nope. No, we wouldn't do that.
So we take a look at one of the things every community struggles with that has pensions, still has pensions, is funding them. How's the city doing with that?
We are the issue that typically you have is the funding percent level, and that's what you see that draws attention a lot of the time. So you might say, well, the pension's funded at 70%. That's one aspect of it. So, but you pay into that annually. So what we're always concerned with our annual budget is the actuarial required contribution. So that's what the actuaries tell you to put in there every year. Saginaw has been putting above that amount for several years. So we continue to meet that obligation. It's always a significant amount of money between that and the retiree health care, but it's something we know, it's an obligation we have to fulfill. Again, just like every other community, that pension fund's susceptible to market conditions.
Yeah, like everything else, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. The 2008 and 9 saw significant decreases in that, and that was it had a huge impact on pension funds, especially ours. I think some of them dropped 30-40% in value.
How does the market affect your budget during the year? Does it?
What impacts our budget more is inflation and inflationary impact. Yeah. So coming out of COVID, we were seeing a lot of our projects coming in substantially higher than what were projected. We always look, if we have a big capital project or any project, even roofs, certain things like that for some of our buildings, we'll have estimates so we know when the bids come in, if they fall in line. And post-COVID, 2021, 2022, the bids were way higher than what we were expecting. That's kind of come in line, so it's not necessarily a huge impact anymore, and I don't know if it's the prices coming down a lot or the engineers are better estimating higher costs, but they're coming in more in line with what we estimate. Some things that people don't think about, our police department uses a lot of fuel, and the fuel costs that fluctuate, that has a big impact on our budget too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the next big hot issue you're facing now?
Well, I think it's still going to be, I try to look at positive things, and the big thing will be seeing the equipment down in the medical diamond. I think that's going to have a huge impact on the way that the project is viewed, because, we've been talking about that area for years, and I know some people in the community have probably been talking about a medical diamond or development downtown for over 25 years. So when we start seeing the equipment earth move and the power lines buried and some of that construction down there, I think that's going to have a huge positive impact.
Well, Tim, as always, thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Art.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have yourself a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Saginaw City Manager Tim Morales, and we thank him for being with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, last week, of course, we spent time celebrating the 75th anniversary of WSGW Radio, and we told you we didn't have enough time for everything. I've got one piece I want to play that was recorded back in the 80s at the Temple Theater, and this was before the Temple Theater was renovated by the Shaheen family. It has to do with the organ and some of the folks you're going to hear. I'll explain it just before we play it, but we'll take a break first, and then we will be back.
We're proud to make...
And we're playing snippets of programs from back then. We didn't have time to play them all, and some of them deserve to be heard, and so we're going to occasionally spotlight some of these things. And Rick Belcher, who was program director back in those days, did some research, came up with some audio clips that he had in his files and sent me one of them. This is from the 4 for the Morning show in, we're guessing 82, 83, somewhere back in the early to mid 80s, when they sent me down to the Temple Theater. This is before it was totally renovated by the Sheen family. One of the voices you're going to hear from the theater is the late Julie Stevens, who was involved in the community, as the entire Stevens family was, great philanthropists. And the voice you first hear is that of Rick Belcher, who sets up the whole thing for you. So let us go to the Temple Theater in downtown Saginaw back in the, as I said, early to mid-'80s.
7:40 in the morning with 4 for the morning. Rick Belcher, Fred Krell, Art Lewis, and Dave Maurer from 79 WSGW. And Fred, Art, as we all know, and if you just tuned in, we'll tell you, Art is on the road and at the Temple Theater this morning. Temple Theater in downtown Saginaw, the historic Temple Theater. It's quite a place, isn't it, Art?
It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's 6 for the morning, because I have with me Julia Stevens from the Temple Theater Association and Vivian Ecker, who is on the Barton organ this morning. And first of all, I want to say good morning to them, because we really got them up earlier than they usually get up, didn't we, Julia?
You sure did. It's nice to have you here, Art, even though I had to get up at 6 o'clock to get down here.
A little bit about the history of the Temple Theater, because you sit here and you just kind of feel that you're surrounded by it.
Well, it was built in 1927 by the Al Karefi Shrine, who right now are presently next door in the adjoining mosque. And it was built for their ceremonials and as a vaudeville house. And it was a movie theater until about 1977, when Butterfield chose not to renew their lease.
And then it was picked up by who?
Well, it sat vacant for approximately 3 years, and the Shrine continued to rent it sporadically. And then in January of 1980, Saginaw Central area came to the Junior League and asked the Junior League to join forces with the Al Karefi Shrine and the Saginaw Central area in setting up an administrative network to look into the feasibility of restoring and revitalizing the Temple Theater.
That group is called?
Well, the steering committee went into we ended up forming a nonprofit organization, a 21-member board, Temple Theater Arts Association, and now we presently have approximately 350 members that are contributing to the association for the ongoing work and restoration of the Temple Theater.
The Art Association would signify that you're looking to make it more than just a movie house, even though you do bring in a lot of old great movies like West Side Story tonight.
That's right. We our primary purpose is to return it to the community as a performing arts center for the community, a structure and organization that the community can afford and will try to use. Our movie series we're running every other week, and our primary purpose is to get people into the theater to enjoy the beauty and also to enjoy the classic films. The other weekends we are renting, and during the week are renting. Hopefully we hope to primarily be a rental house for community groups and occasionally have the movies.
And Julia, this weekend, of course, is West Side Story, and we've had some question as to what time it all starts.
Well, people start lining up about 6:45 outside the door. The box office opens at 7 o'clock, and you'll see people drifting in here to hear the beautiful sounds of the Barton organ, which is the procedure. We always have a half-an-hour organ overture before the movie, which starts at 8 o'clock. The first movie series we had, it started at 7:30, but we found that people were arriving early to enjoy the beauty and listen to the organ, so we're making it a little bit easier for people to get their meal done and get down here in time to listen to the organ.
Okay, so the picture starts at 8 o'clock.
That's
and,
right.
And the organ concert a half an hour before that, so that would be about 7:30.
That's right. And also I'd like to add that we here at the Temple Theater always have an intermission. We find that people like to rub shoulders and get out in the lobby and have a cigarette and say hello to their neighbors. And we also feature a intermission with the organ as well, so people get a double treat at the Barton Organ.
I am one of those few people who have not been in the Temple Theater, but
Shame
Fred,
on you.
yeah, I'm planning to make it this weekend. The Temple Theater is a beautiful place, very ornate. It's really like going down a time tunnel into the past, Fred tells me.
It's a delightful place. Let me do something here. I'll tell you,
Yep.
we'll talk to Vivian Ecker, the organist, in just a couple of minutes, but maybe we can get Vivian to play us a minute or two worth of something so that you can hear this beautiful Barton organ again, and I'm going to have to juggle to get my microphone where you can hear
All right,
everything.
fine. We'll take a quick break, too, and then come right back to you. 16 minutes away from 8 o'clock on 79 WSGW.
The better way to get your car lubricated fast.
Love you, Dunlop Pontiac, where a second opinion only takes a second.
Well, it's 13 minutes away from 8 o'clock. WSGW is on the road. Art Lewis is at the Temple Theater with Julia Stevens and Vivian Ecker at the organ this morning, at the Barton organ. And I think Vivian should be ready to go now, huh?
Oh, just about, Rick. First of all, we want to say good morning to Vivian.
Good morning, Rick. How are you this morning?
Well, just fine, Vivian. It's good to talk to you. And we've been hearing a little bit of the organ, but we sure would like to hear more. Sounds like you got it all warmed up, and you're not afraid to play early in the morning, which has got to be a little different, huh?
It is different, but would you like to hear it now?
We would love to hear it. We would love to. First of all, how many manuals do you have on that? How many
We
keyboards?
have 3 manuals and 11 ranks.
And that is a pretty massive instrument.
Yes, it is.
How many pipes in the organ?
About 1,000.
About 1,000. Going to play all of them at once?
Yes.
Oh, my.
I can.
Living to the traps still work?
Yes. And the organ is 54 years old.
Fred, that organ is... You were around long before the organ got here.
That's true.
Let's listen to Vivian.
I watched the Temple go up, as a matter of fact, attended the opening, and have been in every part of that theater.
Okay, here comes some beautiful music.
Okay.
Listen to
Okay,
this.
Vivian, we're listening.
How about that, huh?
Boy, that is beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
That's and you can tell that it's a massive instrument, even through the transmission. You have to be there in person, of course, to get the full effect.
And the sound is beautiful in the theater. It doesn't matter where you go; you can hear the organ very well. And it's fun to watch the sides of the theater where the organ pipes are. There are shutters. They look like Venetian blinds, large ones, that open and close as Vivian plays.
And we actually heard xylophones. Those are actually xylophones, Fred tells me, who's said he's explored the organ very thoroughly. And, Fred, you were mentioning the word trap.
Chrysoglat harp.
The harp? Is that what it was?
What is it called? Chrysoglat harp.
Okay, now, Fred, there it is, a little bit of it. Fred mentioned the traps. Now, Vivian, I didn't know what a trap was. I thought that's something you catch a bear with. It has traps, and those are actually what, drums?
Yes,
Okay.
we have drums and birdies and thunder. Would you like to hear them?
Could you give us a little demonstration of those?
Sure.
Here we are.
What are we going to hear first? All right.
There are the drums.
Can you hear the drums?
We sure can, yeah.
Okay.
They got birdies?
Birdies. Now, the one I like, here comes the thunder. Little thunder. Raining in here.
And raining. That's
Grand Canyon Suite. Boy, would that be great.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that something?
I don't know how well you could pick it up, but you could feel it when you're standing here.
Very low frequency.
Very
it'd
low.
Be very
It's
difficult
pretty
to
hard
hear
to
that
hear on the
most,
radio.
Yeah, most radios wouldn't pick that up, but I bet that in the theater you can really feel that. We'll be right back with you. We got a break here for a minute, and we will be right back with you. 7 minutes away from 8 o'clock as WSGW is on the road at the Temple Theater this morning.
Good morning. This is WSGW meteorologist Fred Schroeder.
It's 4 minutes away from 8 o'clock, and Fred, we do have the news coming up at the top of the hour.
Great deal of reaction to President Reagan's talk on the television last night. We have a traffic fatality in Larkin Township, Midland County. We have some layoff news for next week and a quality of work life in the Bay City Schools proposition. Details at 8, Rick.
All right, and it's 4 minutes away from 8 o'clock on WSGW. We'll be back down to the Temple in just a moment here.
Wow, what a sale at Quality Door and Lumber. Hurry.
3 minutes away from 8 o'clock on WSGW. We have just about a minute to touch bases again down at the Temple Theater, and I'm hoping that the folks will be able to stay with us after the 8 o'clock news and be back, and maybe Vivian will be able to play for us a little more.
Yeah, they will be, Rick. And
Okay.
just real quick, just for a moment here, Wayne Gulliver stopped in. Wayne is a projectionist. He's been with the Temple for a long time. He's been with Butterfield when they had it for a long time.
Long time. And it's just a hobby with me. And I like it. That's all.
Has the projection booth changed any over the years?
Not that much. We got 35 millimeter upstairs now, and 70 millimeter instead of the regular old 35.
And you can really do a job with it. And, gee, I hope maybe you'll be able to stick with us, too, Wayne, and talk about some of the equipment up there in the next hours. 2 minutes away from 8 now on WSGW.
Part of our 75th anniversary. That was from the 80s. Julie Stevens, one of the great philanthropists of Saginaw. She and her husband, her late husband, she and her husband both have left us now, but Maury and Julie were great contributors into the community. And it's kind of fun listening to that, but the thing that amazes me most is Rick Belcher found that on a cassette, and the audio quality was so good. Can't believe the audio quality from back then. But it's fun, kind of fun going back and listening to that stuff. All right, we're going to take a break. And let me talk about Quick Lane Freeland on the McDonald Ford property, because Quick Lane Freeland knows how tough it's been on your allergies this year, and they want to do something about it. They want to keep you healthy while you're driving in your automobile. And they have a product called FrigiFresh, a hospital-grade disinfectant. Here's John from Quick Lane to tell you all about it.
FrigiFresh. Hi.
All right, back with you on the Art Lewis Show in the couple of minutes remaining. We will come next hour to talk to Jamie Kratz. She is the superintendent of Saginaw Township Community Schools. They have a millage proposal coming up, bond proposal, if you will, and we will talk to her about that. One of the things you'll notice if you go outside, compared to weeks past, we are going